Hi, I'm Dennis from Plain Truth Ministry. Welcome to Friday in the Word. Today I want to talk about wheat, tares, and salvation. I'm going to look at two passages, one from Matthew, one from Luke. The passage from Matthew is chapter 13, verses 24 through 30, and it is Jesus' parable regarding wheats and tares. And it reads, "Another parable he put forth to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servant said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and at the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, First gather the tares and bind them in bundles and to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn." The second passage from Luke chapter 13, verses 23 through 27 reads, Then one said to him, Lord, are there few who are saved? And he said to them, Strive to enter through the narrow gate. For many, I say to you, will seek to enter and will not be able. When once the master of the house has risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open for us. And he will answer and say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Then you will begin to say, We ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he will say, I tell you, I do not know you, where you are from. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. Wheat, tares, and salvation. When we look at the two passages together, we find a couple of things that are extremely important. In the parable of the wheats and the tares, when the wheat grows and the tares grow, before the wheat heads and bears fruit, it looks the same as the tares look the same as the wheat. Now, those who were farming the wheat and the tares for the master asked whether he wanted the tares to be pulled out of the wheat. And he said, No, let them grow together. And then at the end of the day, then we can separate them. What he's saying there is simply, it's not for you to judge. It's not for you to judge which is wheat, which is tares. And if you make a mistake and ruin part of the wheat, then you've harmed the kingdom and those who would come to the kingdom. So leave that to me. At the end, I'll be able to see clearly, and the reapers will be able to see clearly which is wheat and which is tares. In other words, what has borne fruit, who has borne fruit, and who has not. And then I will separate them from there. Those who have not were planted in the same field. They've heard the same gospel. They've said they accepted the same gospel. But they've lived a life that didn't bear fruit, and they will be bundled and burned. Those who have accepted the gospel when it was heard and lived a life of discipline and repentance will bear the fruit that they're supposed to bear. There will be bundles of wheat grain on their heads, and that way we will know the difference. He's saying basically the same thing in Luke in terms of who are saved and who are not saved. And the ones who are not saved will come and say, We heard when you were teaching. We were there and ate with you. Why are we not saved? Simply put, they heard and did not obey, and therefore they did not bear fruit. Those that left outside the closed doors are the tares. The wheat enters the kingdom. Strive to be the wheat, always. God bless.